Hello everybody, welcome to What About the Game. Today I'm going to be talking about Kingdom's item shop on the 3DS eShop. The premise of Kingdom's item shop follows just about every Japanese simulation game ever. You have inherited an item shop to follow in the footsteps of your father and given the task of building it up from a pokey little hole into the most famous in the land. From my experience, Kingdom's item shop's gameplay is split up into 3 different areas. The first is managing the shop floor, placing items on tables and replenishing them once they sell out, upgrading and expanding the shop, listening to customer requests. Like the game as a whole, it's more simplistic than it might sound, and customization is rather minimal on your part. There's not really much to do here aside from collect coins that are just hilariously thrown at you once something is bought. A nice bonus, and as a reward for selling items that might not be worth so much as others, is that every item has a selling goal. If you sell a certain amount of an item, you'll receive a perk for it, such as more health or attack points for your fighter. It's definitely worth selling a little bit of everything. One great aspect of the shop is that you don't even need to be present in order to sell things. You can be out on a quest, busy synthesizing, or even have your 3DS closed, and your shop will still continue to go through the stock that you've laid out. Whenever you return or open up your console, you'll be greeted by an ungodly amount of coins to collect. The next step of gameplay is when you take on quests in order to gather materials and ingredients for you to sell or synthesize. This is the most active part of the game as it's all played out in real time. Being an item shop owner, you're no good for a melee against the many monsters in the Kingdom's locales, and so you can hire warriors to fight on your behalf, while you stand behind the front lines, collecting all the materials that are dropped. Even though you're scurrying around picking everything up before they disappear, you do have a little more say in the battle than what you might think. You can set your fighters to either attack or defense mode, and you need to keep an eye out on the fray if you want your fighters to survive through the handful of fights per area. When the monster sends out an attack, you should switch to defense mode before it hits you. This is especially important on the end boss fight of each stage. I genuinely like the brevity of it. If you go on a quest, you're finished within a couple of minutes, with tons of material to boot, and you don't get bogged down and it doesn't feel like a chore. You do need to go back a few times to grind a few extra materials, but it's so quick to get them, it's not even a problem. The amount of fighters and areas to go to increases rather quickly from starting the game, as it's dependent on achieving certain goals in your shop, cash-wise and reputation. The best way to make money is through the third and final part of the gameplay, which is synthesizing. Around your kingdom there are various establishments, like a restaurant and a blacksmith, and other RPG stereotypes. Each store has an owner who will allow you to synthesize new materials from the ones that you already own. You have 3 options. The first is synthesizing using recipes that you know. You can also freestyle by choosing random ingredients that you think has the potential to make something new, or you can discover new recipes by following clues from the shop owners as to which ingredients are needed. I think Kingdom's item shop does what Circle do best at publishing: simple yet addictive and oddly compelling gameplay. What's done well in these games is the feeling of progression. It always feels like you're achieving something or unlocking something. You're never stuck in the same routine for too long, despite its slightly grindy nature. You're constantly being updated by your assistant who always has something new to say about the game. I actually love the style of the game. The sprites of the characters and the enemies look lovely, even if they are repeated quite heavily. The areas are nice and distinct, and all in all, I think it's presented well above what you might expect. But as with any Circle localization, there are a handful of quirky translation points, but nothing too distracting. The music is also nice and fitting too. Due to its simplistic nature, it's not the longest game in the world, but it will keep you occupied and satisfied for a good few hours. Which, considering the low price point, is actually a really good deal. It's definitely a game that I'd be happy to recommend to those who want an interesting RPG style simulation game. It's perfect in small bursts, and I think it's great. Okay guys, if you've enjoyed this video then be sure to like and subscribe. You can read the full review of Kingdom's item shop at whataboutthegame.com, that will help me out so much, and you can follow me on Facebook and Twitter if you want to. All the links are below. Thanks guys, bye bye.